this.
Yes.
He knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean...
He rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just...
But can I mention one thing?
Let's be real. The View used to be a place for some juicy discussions, where 5 strong personalities would go toe-to-toe on everything from celebrity gossip to serious political debates. It was chaotic, it was wild, and honestly, sometimes it even made sense. But for the past year and a half, girl, it's been nothing but one big love fest for hating on Donald Trump and his family. Forget about hot topics or current events. We're now stuck watching the same episode of Trump's latest scandal on a loop. What happened to the diversity of opinions that made the show interesting? You remember the days when Joy Behar and Meghan McCain would actually go head-to-head over something that wasn't just Trump? Now, it's just Trump did this, Trump said that, and let's all pretend to care about what his kids are doing today. And can we talk about how none of this seems to matter in the grand scheme of the world? Natural disasters, inflation, rising crime rates, those stories get maybe a 5-minute segment, but Trump's Twitter habits, you'd think he was running the entire planet by how much airtime he gets.
One of Trump's first moves after taking the oath was issuing sweeping executive orders to end diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, all in the name of what he calls meritocracy in the workplace. So what do you think of getting rid of these DEI programs, and do you think he knows how to spell DEI?
So I fall somewhere in the middle on this. I generally think organizations are stronger when there's diversity, but I think it needs to be the whole host of diversity. So ideological, socioeconomic diversity, religious, not just race-based.
Not just based on race.
And I think that a lot of Americans generally agree that diversity makes things better. But I also think a lot of this country thinks, I want the federal government to work. I don't know that I think every agency needs 100 or dozens of employees focused on diversity if you can't get your VA benefits, if you feel like our schools are failing and falling behind, if you think it's too hard to get your Social Security benefits. So I think there's somewhere in between that most people fall.
Here's the kicker. Donald Trump is now the 47th president, and what does The View do? Well, instead of coming to terms with the fact that millions of Americans put him back in office, they just keep hammering him. The hosts are acting like his victory is some kind of national tragedy, like they were expecting a fairy tale ending where Biden would sail into a second term, wiping away all the wrongdoings of the past. Guess what? Reality check, babes. The guy won, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. But what's more bizarre than their refusal to let go of their anti-Trump rhetoric is how they literally ignore any and everything else that could matter to their audience. It's like they forgot there are other issues out there. When's the last time we heard anything about what's going on with our economy? What's the deal with gas prices, inflation, and what the heck is going on at the southern border? These are real problems that need attention, but nope. Instead, we get a panel of women making snide remarks about Trump's hair or attacking Ivanka for existing. It's like they've forgotten they're supposed to be covering everything. Meanwhile, the Biden administration gets a free pass. A whole year and a half has passed, and you wouldn't know it by watching The View. They've completely ignored all the shady stuff happening with Hunter Biden, the awkwardness around President Biden's gaffes, or any of his questionable policies, not even a passing mention. But Trump's latest legal battle, that's worth weeks of airtime. It almost feels like there's something deeper going on here. Like, is the Biden administration slipping The View a little paycheck to keep them on message? We already know about the cozy relationships between certain celebrities and politicians, but this is on a whole new level. I mean, after Trump won, you'd think they'd have the decency to offer a balanced take. Like, at least acknowledge that people are still living through issues that have nothing to do with his family. But nah, it's like they're just on repeat talking about how bad his kids are or how awful his social media posts are. It's the same cycle over and over again, like a bad episode of a reality show that refuses to cancel. But here's the real tea. Can Trump sue them for this constant barrage of attacks? Girl, it's a question we all need answered. This isn't just good old political banter. This feels like pure defamation at this point. And knowing Trump, do you really think he's just gonna sit back and take it? Of course not. If anything, this man loves a good courtroom showdown. He's got the resources, and you better believe he's got the lawyers who can make The View regret every snide comment they've made about his hairline. It would be an interesting move for Trump. Not only would it make a point, but it would be a showstopper that could get even more attention than his presidency. Can you imagine Trump versus ABC? This isn't just about media. This is the kind of showdown that would turn into a national spectacle. All the cameras would be on them. And don't think The View wouldn't be sweating bullets as the world watches their every move. But let's be honest here, no matter what happens legally, the bigger issue is that The View has totally lost its way. This isn't the show we used to know. What happened to thoughtful commentary, engaging debates, and, dare I say, actual news? It's all turned into one long, drawn-out rant against a man who, love him or hate him, was voted into office again. There's something oddly satisfying about the fact that even after all the scandal, all the drama, and all the haters, he's still standing, and The View can't seem to accept that.
And I will say this, something that I've heard from both MAGA types and then like Bernie bros, is DEI to some extent is a professional people problem. If you're working class in this country, if you're in the agriculture sector, if you're in the service industry, you don't even get to have a DEI office.
Is that true, really? Because I remember when I was younger, a black person would have a hard time getting into a union, for example.
Yeah.
That would be blue collar.
So unions do actually tend to have some level of DEI.
I don't know if that's true anymore, but that
saying,
was true then.
I'm saying in a workplace, this isn't necessarily for a lot of working class Americans the first issue that they're coming up against is how do I make the workplace more diverse, or do we have a DEI officer? It's am I going to get paid on time? Is my check going to clear? Am I going to get enough hours to make ends meet?
Right. I think this is a really important issue, especially because when we're talking about DEI, we're not talking about a DEI office. We're talking about equal opportunity and inclusion across all offices for all people so that it's more reflective of what America looks like. This will specifically harm women, right? And it will specifically harm African Americans and Latinos.
It doesn't matter how much they tear him down. He's got his own platform now, and he's got the numbers to prove it. Meanwhile, The View will continue to wallow in its own bitterness, pretending it's still relevant. It's like the show forgot there are bigger fish to fry in America. And let's be real, the more they focus on Trump, the more they lose viewers who are over it. People want substance, not just sensationalism. They want to hear about the real struggles of real Americans, not the made-for-TV drama of a billionaire's family. In the end, The View has two choices. Either they can keep riding the Trump hate train until it derails, or they can start bringing real issues to the table and maybe, just maybe, redeem themselves before they go completely irrelevant. Either way, the show is on thin ice, and with Trump now in office for another term, it's about time they realized that their antics might only be making him stronger. What's next? A new season of The View? Or a courtroom drama starring Trump versus the ladies of ABC? Only time will tell, but it's looking like a reality show no one can resist.